Preparation, Hybrid Exchange DNS Configuration. By the time you're done here, you will understand the DNS records to modify in a hybrid exchange environment and the impact that will have. When you first set up your Office 365 environment, it might feel a little bit overwhelming when you get to the page where they're like, hey, here's all the DNS records you have to create. And you're like, whoa. When we did that, it was actually in an earlier module. I said, let's do the DNS later because Office 365 tries to have you set up all the DNS for all the Office 365 services right from the beginning, and I'd rather do it as we go. And the good news is when we get to Hybrid Exchange, we don't have that much DNS to set up. The big decision that we have to make is where does the MX record go? Now, if you're not 100% informed on that, the MX record is the mail exchange record. Every single domain name that hosts email has one, and you can find out what anybody's MX record is just by using NS lookup. I can type in set type equals MX, and then whatever domain name I want to look up. I'll type in thevia.com. And sure enough, I can see that Via right now is pointing to two redundant MX records, MX1 and MX2.canopyhosting.com. That's actually a filtering service that we're using, a spam filtering service that it goes through before it actually reaches our Exchange cluster. I can type in Microsoft.com. It looks like Microsoft has one MX record, which goes to Microsoft.com, mailprotection.outlook.com. You can do that for any domain you want. And you have a big choice. Do you want your MX record to point to the Office 365 cloud? Or do you want it to point to the on-premise cluster? For me, it's a no-brainer because I want to save some cost on paying for the spam filtering services that we're paying for right now. And my end game is to get all of our VIA accounts in Office 365. So I'd rather not have the mail flow through our organization into Office 365, but there's a lot of organizations that might. They might have a mail archiver set up right here, or some compliance issue that says we need to receive our email here first to audit it and then send it to Office 365. It's no worry if you want to do that because once you set up the hybrid environment, the email can flow easily between your transport servers inside of your private cluster and Office 365. The only other two DNS records you need to worry about are Autodiscover and the SPF record. Autodiscover.whatever your domain name is.com is what all your devices, your smartphones, your tablets, your laptops running Outlook, use to figure out where to go to find the Exchange server. For a hybrid Exchange environment, that needs to stay pointing to the on-premise Exchange cluster. Once you've run the hybrid configuration, your cluster will become smart enough to point the Outlook client over to Office 365 for the mailboxes that you've migrated over there. The SPF record is actually just a text record, just like those verification records that we added to the domain name when Office 365 asked us to. This represents the sender policy framework, which keeps other people in the world from sending email addressed as you. If you don't use SPF records, that means that an email server over here in wherever that is, what is that, Japan? Could start sourcing emails coming from your domain and effectively impersonate you. That's how a lot of the phishing emails generate. So a lot of the email servers out there are configured to look for an SPF record for the domain, which says these are the sources that are authorized to send emails on my behalf. And what Microsoft will tell you is to add this as an SPF record to your domain so that Office 365 can source emails from your domain. Now I'm putting the record that it gave me right here, but that may change when you go through the Office 365 wizard for you. If you don't create that SPF record, then many of the emails sent from Office 365 may be rejected by other email servers. So let's get that SPF record added right now. I'm heading over to our DNS management, clicking create record set. I'll change it to a text record, leave the name blank, and then type in the exact output from the Microsoft recommendations right into the value field and hit create. Bingo, SPF record created. You now understand the DNS records you need to modify in an Exchange environment and the impact it will have. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.